All right. Welcome, one and all, to the Cosmic Comic Nation, powered by Comic Con Radio. I'm your host, Tom Torme. And if you have a sense of humor and you live in the Northeast, you may know my guest. He's worked alongside everyone from Jim Brewer to Jay Leno and worked everywhere from New York City to Hawaii. You may know him from his TikToks with over 150,000 followers and clips from over his 20 plus shows a month. Please welcome AJ Hapenny to the show. Welcome to the Cosmic Comic Nation. AJ, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I don't know whose pleasure it's going to be, but it's a pleasure.
I hope everybody's pleasure. Anyone with a set of ears and a set of eyes is going to enjoy this, I think.
Do I go center or do I lean to one side? I've never done steamship before, whatever this is called.
If you lean this way, we kind of look like we're resting on the. Okay, yep, there we go. We're listening to the. There we go. We're good. Oh, that way. Nope. Yes. Hold on. So I'm a comic book nerd, and I have to ask, just like I'm really interested in the fictional heroes. Well, what is your superhero origin story? How did you get involved with comedy?
Well, the thing. Hang on.
There you go.
I'm used to be doing the opposite Zoom on whatever this was, a Cleveland Steam Yard or whatever it is.
Yes.
Copyright. What do you ask again?
Your origin story. How'd you get involved with comedy?
Same way I got into porn. I was tricked.
Nice.
They just grabbed a bunch of microphones, just shoved them in my face, and then I just went in for a modeling gig, and then they just forced me all into it.
Well, I could see model. So you were forced into it, just like they put you on a shipping container and sent you on, and when you got out, they forced you onto a stage.
Yep. They trafficked me on the stages of Boston comedy.
Wow. Seldom heard of.
They're just like some no name. I got into it watching a lot of my uncle's videotapes that he had of George Carlin and Richard Pryor. Carlin was my late uncle's favorite, and growing up for me, it was Harlan Williams. Seeing Harlan Williams and like watching shows like Mad TV just got me into comedy. And then I transitioned from slam poetry, believe it or not, because my uncle would do like a lot of poetry. Like I pretty much wanted to be my Uncle Bobby. It went from doing slam poetry for me, eventually making up to stand-up comedy. And then the first major name I opened for was Jim Brewer, and that was in college. And then and then I didn't realize that I had to put in work to do the craft.
Right. Yeah.
So and then I learned about open mics. I took a comedy course with a hilarious comedian by the name of Gary Peterson, who's being helped by Dana J. Bine, Dana has pretty much. He's taught like half Boston comedy, like literally half of my generation, the millennials to Generation Z. He's pretty much taught, if not him or Rob Crean. But I've had a lot of great teachers kind of coming up with it.
So do you find, and you mentioned the colleges, do you get to play any colleges up? You're in Boston and the Massachusetts area. Do you get to play any colleges?
Let's see. I did MIT last year. I was supposed to do it again, but I already had committed to opening for Rodney Norman, who you might know from TikTok and Instagram. I was supposed to do that for them this year, but instead we got tricked into doing a magician's show. And, it was brutal. It was the guy that was running for governor of Connecticut, but the Libertarian Party.
Wow.
And then I literally started off my set like saying it's an honor to be performing for a guy that's going to get 4% of the votes, and it just turned into a roast. We called him a different politician every time. I said, guys, give it up for Cory Booker.
Right.
Rodney Norman had the best one. He's like, guys, give it up for Riverdale Sharpton. He was great.
And he played along. Did he play along?
Yeah, I played along pretty well. I even called him Pete Buttigieg at one point. And Joe Lieberman. I was running out of politicians from this era. I started going into ones of the late '90s.
That's good because I always wonder about because there has been a radical kind of shift in culture in the last 20 some odd years, maybe more, about what we as a society kind of find funny versus what we found funny. And I was wondering if you've noticed that kind of trend yourself, where as you're playing or you're prepping, you kind of know that your audience can handle certain things versus certain jokes that's gonna boo and hiss.
Oh, sure. That's why I go early. That's why I go early every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're wearing wool caps and it's summertime,
Gotcha.
they're gonna be more sensitive to stuff.
Yeah.
If I go in and everybody's wearing MAGA hats, I can get away with a lot.
Right.
So performing in front of like more liberal crowds, it gives me an opportunity to just play with my creativity a lot. And conservative crowds, I could just let my hair hang down, and just pretty much mess with everyone. They especially love jokes about Joe Biden. They don't mind jokes about Trump as long as it's like about his appearance. just like Orange Man, yeah, that's right. He does have orange hands, and then or like the tiny hands thing.
Wow.
So there's certainly the crowds will laugh at a little more.
Right.
I try to stay away from politics for a general crowd unless like it's pretty darn obvious.
Right.
Well, like if there's 3 horses parked out front of the venue, then yes, I can. then there's a few things I can get away with.
How long do you have to arrive before to get that kind of prep time in to know where you're going to go with the show that night?
Well, it's not necessarily about have to, but I generally do like arrive like about like an hour beforehand. If I'm headlining, I'm generally there before the opener.
Well, I guess that's definitely speaks to your professionalism as well. I'm sure when you're booked, people want to know that you're reliable and on time, and that's definitely a professional thing. That's a good quality to have. Do you hang out for the other? Do you hang if you headline? Do you hang out for the opening acts? Do you sit in the crowd? Or you?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I watch it all to see what works, what doesn't, and if like something doesn't work, like I'll still address it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the guys that I kind of started out with, Ed Watt, he does this JFK joke that he's married to. It mainly bombs more than it does well, but I still love to see people's reactions to it. And then like if he does it, like I'll address it. And I'm like, well, he shot his shot. Oh man, that makes me want to hide in a book depository, 4 floors up. So I especially love seeing the good jokes, but then there's some jokes that even I'm guilty of that we're married to. Like, well, I need to do this. This is my baby.
Yeah. And if it kills, it kills. If it bombs, it bombs. At least you learn, or maybe try it out a different audience. Right? Do you find yourself doing that? Let's say bombs tonight. You're like, no, I'm not giving up. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to power through. I'm going to find that audience for that joke. Or do you kind of when do you abandon ship on a joke?
Let's see. Never. All of them are now. If there's like a month where I'm just like maybe like 2 at most, or just weekend, and it's just like okay, I'll just put this on the back burner until I can find a way for this to be funny, and then like then there'll be some people like looking on the outside, like my producer Andy. They're like, well, it didn't work in this room with 19 people, so it'll never work. I'm like, no, that's the fucking stupid thing to say.
Yeah, right.
And then like I'll do it at a veteran show the next day, and it'll just fucking kill.
So in terms of your different audiences, you go from PG to not PG at all. And if anyone has seen your TikTok, they know you go to the extreme other end as well. What do you prefer? What do you prefer? Do you like the PG? I mean, I'm sure that could be a lot of fun too, and probably extremely challenging, right? Whereas the not so PG can be equally as fun, but maybe bring with it its own challenges. What do you prefer?
It depends on what it is. If it's like a show if it's like a church show that's like a mix of kids and adults, I would rather do that just one of just adults.
Right.
And in a church, because I got hired for one church. This was like last month, and it was like a ladies group. Most of them were great, with the exception of the person that hired me. She full on Game of Thrones, and like gave me like a 2-star review.
Mm.
I hope she burns in hell. But
Yeah.
but like everyone else was wicked nice. They were like, oh, I love how you did crowd work. She hated how I did crowd work. And they're like, oh well, he was offended that they called him they said he looked like a bouncer at Build-A-Bear. I'm like, really? Because he said that he was going to make a T-shirt of it.
Yeah. Well, first,
Like, it sounds like you just want to be mad.
oh,
Because if you get like 99% of the audience of your crowd, you're fucking killing.
right.
But like there's always gonna be that 1% that thinks you're like the worst person in the world, but at the same time they're ignoring the 99% of the people there that are having a good time.
No,
So
no.
how much is their opinion really worth?
Zero zilch. And I do like that, in this case, it just happened to be the one person who booked you, as if she had never seen your act before. She didn't know what she was getting into. I can picture her sitting there clutching her pearls the whole time and just gasping and with her hand on her forehead falling backwards.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I have my videos on there just so you know what you're prepared for. And if it's like a PG or G show, I'm gonna be doing like G or PG. Like I would say like maybe like a Nickelodeon, like what was it, Y7? Like I'll do Drake and Josh ish, like somewhere along like those humor lines.
That's cool. That speaks to your writing ability, that you could kind of encompass all of that. You could reach different audiences. And I do want to thank you, as a New Yorker, listening to you, as you said, that 99% of the audience was wicked cool. And I did like to hear that little Bostonian come out in you. So I appreciate it.
Mm.
Means a lot. And
Yeah, because like growing up, I always wanted to create like a Boston faction, like of wrestlers. If I ever made it into like pro wrestling, it'd be either called the Mass Holes or the Commonwealth.
nice.
And it was like just by the heat with Sandra Bullock. Are you a knock? Wait, what? Are you not a knock?
I do tend to. I like the mass holes. That's pretty good. I think that would run. I think that I could sell. I could see it on a
Well,
shirt.
maybe an AEW, not necessarily
Yeah.
WWE.
They went PG.
Yeah, like because they can go TV 14. But
Right.
there's back on the church thing. There's one church that I perform at every single year, and it's the Bridge in Onset, and that's like usually the day before 4th of July. And that show I pretty much look forward to the most out of any show. Because Pastor Dave is freaking amazing. The staff there, the crew, and then like they get a lot of people like following because like they play like a lot of '80s movies.
All right.
Like during sermon, like okay, connected to this. They're playing Back to the Future, like
There's a lot of
connected to it. It's my favorite church.
Oh,
Like,
that sounds awesome.
if they showed Back to the Future at their church, I don't think she would have gave me a 2-star review.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. So I guess you deal with a lot. You're dealing with a lot as you're going show to show, place to place, crowd to crowd. I'm sure you've experienced one. Sometimes you'll you have your highs and your lows. Sometimes you might have a dead crowd, or you might have that occasional heckler. Which do you prefer, and how do you deal with either? Would you?
100% dealing with a heckler,
Yeah.
because at least they're engaging. Most of the time, I prefer to just like stick to my material. But if somebody's disruptive, I have to address it.
So
But
this is
then, like,
like the wrestling equivalent of when a fan jumps into the ring and the wrestler kicks the crap out of him. So I would imagine that from a comedian point of view, when the heckler comes up, now it's your opportunity to let loose.
mhm. The Because like I have a couple canned lines, and then there are like ones where I just look at them, and it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, look at you, stupid little eyes, stupid little haircut, your beady little eyes.
Oh, what? After everything you
You're wearing a shirt. What a loser. so, so something weird like that. But yeah, I'd rather have them. I'd rather have them talkative than dead completely. Because dead completely, you can't. There's not really much you can do.
right.
They're already moved. Because if the crowd's dead, either something happened,
Mhm.
or it's a free show, which I produce a few of them myself, or it's a free show and people aren't necessarily there for comedy, which is why, like, on the free shows, I set up an Eventbrite just to get a head count of people that are actually there for the show, rather than people that like want to talk at the bar and then just think that they can be funnier than the other comedians just because they're louder.
I can only imagine. Right. I can only imagine how frustrating that could be.
Oh yeah.
I'm
There's one person probably Wednesday that I'm gonna have to put a restraining order against, or at least a no contact order, because it's just like, no, you don't touch my stuff. Like, you stay away. You stay away. You don't. No.
Is that did I just see that on your social? Did you have something else?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I did see some pretty intrusive person recently on your social. I thought it might be that was what you were referring to, but you're talking about somebody who went even further.
Oh,
Hands on.
oh yeah, well, like and then like went on stage after the show, took the microphone, and then like started. Then I just shut the microphone off and pull it from him. And his buddies were booing, but it was just like, oh, if you want to enable them, you can set up a show at your house.
Yeah, damn right, man.
Yeah,
That's messed up. So, in terms of dealing with things like that, whether it's a heckler or a drunken stooge who thinks all of a sudden that they are the greatest comedian in the world, what advice would you give to up and coming? Because you're a young man yourself, but you've been at this game for over 8 years, I believe.
yeah, it's been 9 as of January.
Okay, so I mean, so and not to put you on the spot, I would ask your age, but definitely younger than me. I've just got going by the lack of gray versus the preponderance of gray here. Anyone getting?
All my grades are tied back.
Oh, nice, smart man, smart move. I'm gonna do that. I can't do that here. I just got to shave that beard. But then people would see what this looks like, and that's just as bad. What advice are you giving for do you have for young people, young or up and coming, whether regardless of age, up and coming acts that are dealing with hecklers, who are dealing with drunkards? That what advice do you have to shut it down?
Well, oftentimes when they're starting out, they don't necessarily have to deal with like as much hecklers. It's when you're doing shows more often, and you're doing like more bar stuff. Then yeah, ultimately you'll see that. But that gets better over time. Like you have your own ways of dealing with them when those occasions arise.
Right.
The easiest way is like if you're not like at the beginning of the lineup, like see who's being disruptive like early, and then just like have like a canned line in your head, like, oh, this guy's wearing a dumb shirt. He's wearing a tap out shirt from 2008, and it's 2023.
Right.
And like, you're wearing a tap out shirt. Shut the fuck up.
Get you and your Ed Hardy hat out of here.
Right. Get you and your Ed Hardy hats and get your Chad Kroger. They say that a hero will save us, and just see who's disruptive. Like Liam McGurk, another Boston comic. Like he's absolutely great at that. As he'll generally watch the whole show, see who's disruptive, and then he'll just make up like a backstory for them, and it'll be the most hilarious thing. And he has it in his back pocket whenever he sees it, but generally he sticks to his material. But if they do that thing, there's like Liam's like, I can't wait, man, and he just pops.
It's like chumming
like,
the
I'm pretty good at it. Liam McGurk, I think is slightly better at me than me at that. And then Gary Peterson, It is great at clapping back as well.
Yeah.
But then like I try not to be too mean to it like
Sure.
at first, but then if they continue to be disruptive, then it's like gloves off, baby.
Are
Um,
there occasions where the proprietor, the wherever you are, the bar or the even I would imagine you're not going to experience this kind of stuff at a church venue, but I would imagine at a bar, this when you start introducing alcohol, maybe less wine at the church, but still, uh, do they get involved? Do they have to actually ever have to say, "God, you got to come with me, man. You got to get out."
I mean, not as often as you think. If you frequent my videos, I really don't get heckled too often.
Right.
It's like the heckler videos when somebody's heckling me. Those are the ones that go viral. So those are the ones that I post.
Sure.
Because like if I post my material, it's not gonna get a lot of views anyway. And two, if I post my material, that's stuff that I
Yeah.
can't really do at a show if somebody saw me do it. Because if people saw me like engage with a heckler, like oftentimes I'm gonna address it a different way.
Mm.
So it's not like that's ruining anything for me in the future if I post that. And plus, like when they see stand-up videos, that unless you're like a bigger name or like you have a fantastic camera or you just filmed a special, people generally just want to see you clap back, or they want to see a lightly make fun of people. That never go full in unless they're being disruptive.
Right.
And then like after like the fifth time, if that happens, which rarely ever does,
Right.
and I was like, okay, this motherfucker's got to go.
Yeah.
Like after one, people don't know. It's more about ignorance. They're like, oh, I'm not supposed to say this stuff. So like, okay, keep it down, stupid.
Yeah. I've seen the way you shut it down. You do it in a cool way that kind of you're not killing the show, you're not killing the vibe of the room. You don't go full on. You're not like tearing this person down. It's almost like, man, let's all enjoy the show. And I do like how you kind of diffusing it and moving on rather than tearing into them. And because I would imagine that would just create even more tension and
Oh
sidetrack.
yeah.
Yeah.
I learned not to do that from Mike Fahey, mainly because he would do it all the time.
Mm.
And he was just like, "You're taking a poop during my set. They have to poop. Leave them alone."
Yeah.
If someone gets up, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
If it's like a whole table that gets up, then yeah,
Yeah.
you feel free to let it bother you, but not if like one person is like, because they're either gonna get drinks, which like the venue is run by people that buying drinks, so I generally try not to fuck with them unless they're being purposely like disruptive. Or
At
if
least get you something while they're up at the bar,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Sure.
give me a blueberry tea while you're up there.
So in terms of your preparation, I know you've officiated over 25 weddings now. Uh, what kind of preparation do you have to put into that?
I have the couple meet with me months ahead of time because every couple's unique. So I feel that every like how they met and like what their interests are, and then like you can learn a lot from somebody's back wall when you do a Zoom call with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I can make up your side of the wedding speech just by what I'm looking at behind you.
I understand.
So I talked to them. I like what are your music interests? Well, what are this? And then I get into like how'd you meet? And surprisingly, the hardest questions that they answer is like, oh, what do I like? What do I like movie wise? What do I like superhero wise? But then if I ask them, well, what made you fall in love? They answer like right away. They know this, so that's always a good sign.
That's a good sign.
So if they're putting in an effort to like have this wedding, I feel that I should put in an effort in my ceremony speech.
Wow.
Because even the I do's I modify. I modified one where it was like a Game of Thrones, for the watch, like the Watchman's Oath. I modified that So that was their I do's. And then like oftentimes the song lyrics, sometimes it shows. I'm still waiting for someone to say that they're a Green Lantern fan. And then like the I do's are just gonna, well, when they get married, but well, before they get married. And I'm just gonna have their vows be the Book of Oa.
Yeah.
And then the other and then the other one be like the Blue Lantern oath.
Right. I got to tell you, you know what? That first of all, my wedding ring was supposed to be a Green Lantern ring, but we changed it because I thought it would be too like a little ostentatious, a little too much. But I when you have that Green Lantern wedding, you got to let me know because I want to hear this because that sounds amazing.
Oh, sure. We had someone said Die Hard, so I had this instead of saying I do, I had them say Yippee Ki Yay.
That's awesome. The prep is cool. I mean, I really actually I'm really surprised. I'll be honest with you. About how not only how seriously you kind of take that. Again, I guess it makes sense. Of course, it is there's a wedding between two people, but almost and how much prep time you put into it. That is really really cool to know. Not to say that I'm not. I didn't expect that from you, but that was a surprisingly deep answer. Do people ever work like wrestling into? Because I know you're a wrestling fan yourself, and even in the comedy, you know, is it weird that you are talking to people and that don't know Ric Flair as a wrestler, for example, but know him more now as a cultural kind of icon, where they know.
Ric Flair is also a household name. There's nobody my age that doesn't know who Ric Flair is, and
Right.
even like two generations after me, like everybody knows Ric Flair for like one reason or another. It's when you go like like who's Cody Rhodes? Not everybody's gonna know Cody Rhodes as much as Ric Flair, because Ric Flair's been out there for 40-50 years. And Cody's only been like really getting big within like the past like 5 years.
I'm
So,
gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so there's some wrestlers that like exceed wrestling and go into pop culture like icon, like Macho Man Randy Savage, I would argue has more of a cult fall than Hulk Hogan does.
Right.
More people are doing Macho Man's voice than they are doing Hulk Hogan's voice. No disrespect to Mr. Gawker over there, but and the Rock for one. More people more for his movies, but then there's football players that are saying know your role and shut your mouth. And then even if it's not the wrestler, there's like hand gestures that like exceed vocal, like the Daniel Bryan, like yes, Bryan Danielson, yes, thing still done at sports games. Ever since he started doing it, like maybe like 2012. I think it was 2012. And then like even if people don't remember Triple H or Shawn Michaels, everybody does DX chop, which is still common on sports games to this day. It's still getting kids not kicked out of school, but suspended. So one way or another, if not the person, it's what they did that also exceeds and goes into pop culture.
It's scary to think that there's a generation out there that may know Randy Savage only from his rap album. With I know.
Like of course we do, but it's not on play. On radios, like, oh, I hope Kiss 108 in Boston, the rap station, they play "Be a Man," Hogan. Come on, don't be scared. You're running from Macho. That's what I heard.
Wow! Oh my God! I've never been so know the lyrics. That's amazing. So I clearly you're a huge wrestling fan. So I want to play a quick game with you if that's okay. I'm gonna. Oh, all right. Well,
no, here you go.
I didn't.
I don't consent to this game. Yes. Let's play.
Okay, that's verbal consent, right? Noted.
Yes, verbal.
So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to give you a wrestler's name, and I just want you to tell me, real or staged. And
see, I love how you said staged, because my ex will say, "Oh, it's fake." Like, no, it's staged. Staged. Your orgasms were staged.
And you know what I always tell people? I saw Jurassic Park in 1993, and I knew those damn dinosaurs were fake. I knew they weren't real, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. I enjoyed it, just because it's a fixed
They were
outcome.
staged.
Yeah, the stage
Staged
dinosaurs,
guys.
stage dinosaurs. Just because that it was, I knew that they weren't actually stampeding. Didn't mean I couldn't find it fun. Same thing. Listen, you can't fake gravity. So when those guys are falling off 10 feet, they're hurting. So I got
Oh
to
yeah.
fixed outcome doesn't mean fake.
If somebody likes a thing,
Uh,
who am I to say like fuck you? You're not allowed to like that thing because I don't like that thing.
I don't get it.
Unless it's pedophilia, leave
Yeah,
people alone.
right.
Leave them alone.
No,
Let them like the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that thing, so I don't see why you can't like that thing.
I gotta
You
tell you,
don't have to like that thing.
I never got into sports really my entire life, but I absolutely respect people who do enjoy it. I could respect you if you go to a Giants game and you're painting yourself blue and red, but at the same time, don't crap on someone because they're going to Comic-Con dressed like Naruto.
Oh,
You're
sure.
doing the same thing at a football game. Don't crap on them. Let them be happy. If you're the kind of person who can't enjoy someone else being happy, there's something wrong with you.
Because unlike you, sports fan, that Naruto kid can actually run.
But he runs with
he's been running around doing that run all around Comic-Con before he even started.
He's been practicing running class to class like that. So, all right, you ready? You ready? We'll start with some. So we'll start with the one you just mentioned. Let's go with Macho Man Randy Savage. Is that his real or stage name?
That is his stage name. I think it was Poffo. Was it?
You're absolutely right. Randy Poffo.
Yeah, because of Lanny, the genius Lanny Poffo. Yeah, that was his brother.
Nailed it. Dusty Rhodes.
Virgil was his real name.
That's right, Virgil Reynolds. Mick Foley.
I'm gonna say real name.
You nailed it. Shawn Michaels.
I think it was like Michael Hickenbottom.
Nailed it. Michael Hickenbottom is correct.
The only reason why I remember that is because there was a comedian, Brian Higginbottom, very similar name, and unfortunately passed away recently. But like funny dude, and he was the closest. I considered him like the Shawn Michaels of the Boston comedy scene, just because he had that it factor. Like you ever meet someone, they just have that thing. I'm doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now with the it factor. I got a point there. There you go.
Which
depth perception is off. Brock Lesnar.
I think that's his real name.
It is his real name. You're absolutely right. Chris Jericho.
It was like Chris Irvine or something like that because his dad was a hockey player.
I knew his dad was a hockey player. I didn't know what Chris Irvine. You nailed it. All right, I'm going to hit you with one last one. This is my favorite one. Ricky Steamboat.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Do you know what his real name is?
No.
I got to tell you, I think it's even cooler than Richard Blood, but I could see why you didn't pick it. I mean, Dick Blood. That's a tough name. That's a tough name in this world, you know? I don't think it'd be hard to pull that off. It would be hard to pull that off.
well, like he did have a son named it was Richie, and he was going by Richie Steamboat for a while. he could have been Dick Blood.
Yeah, coming out to the ring, Dick Blood. Sporadic clapping. I don't know.
I may talk about that tomorrow during one of my sets. Do you think Ricky Steamboat should have went out as Dick Blood?
That's awesome. I would be thrilled if you did that. That would be awesome.
Dude, Dick Blood just now sounds like a super woke wrestler.
For anyone out there who wants to find AJ Hapenny, where are we going to see you next?
You can see me doing my podcast, Health Class Heroes. We're doing season 2, and Health Class Heroes. We pretty much review and watch videos that were forced and showed upon us in health class and gym class, and pretty much all of them are government funded. So like, wow, they pushed this on us. and we're gonna go through like what holds up and what is outdated, which is most of it, and that'll be coming out soon.
Health Class Heroes. Wait, is that on Spotify?
Just currently on Facebook right now because
Okay.
we're just Facebook and YouTube.
Nice.
Just because we're primarily doing live streaming and live reactions of it. We might make it into a Spotify thing someday, but we'll see. We'll see what it calls for. We'll see what it calls for. And then by the time this comes out, I'll be doing a weekend of shows in Vermont. My February calendar will be up. As far as socials, follow me at AJ Hapenny. That's AJ Ha, the word penny. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube. Don't follow me on TikTok. That's a dead site. Well, at least for me anyway. TikTok hates it when I do stand up. They're like, "Fuck you, do more wrestling stuff."
I'm sorry,
like, but I want to do stand up stuff too. I want to do stand up stuff too. But YouTube loves how I do it. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers by next month.
All right.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Oh well, that's awesome. I'm so super interested in the idea of the Health Class Heroes thing. I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Check it out. We got 6 episodes from last season. Two of them we reviewed a couple Magic School Bus episodes, and we reviewed the first 3 episodes. We're reviewing the series called Straight Up, and Oscar winner Lou Gossett Jr. played this mystical being that teaches this kid, played by Chad Allen, who Chad Allen's probably most known for being the kid from St. Elsewhere with the globe at the end.
Oh yeah, right.
And Lou Gossett Jr. teaches this Chad Allen, or his character named Ben, and he teaches him like drugs are bad. This is what happens when you do them, and each drug is represented by a dude. There's a guy named Booze who looks homeless, and he just smells. There's one woman called Mrs. Pot, where she has like pot leaves, like her. And then there's Heroin, who has needles pressed directly into his head. And I'm like, wow, they showed this to kids. That's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds both entertaining and terrifying at the same time. So that's cool. I'm definitely going to check that out, and I can't wait. And I'm sure anyone in the Bostonian region in Vermont is going to be blessed enough to see you on stage. I really wanted to thank you, AJ Hapenny, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with me. And I look forward to speaking with you again and having you back on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This was Tom Tormey. That was AJ Hapenny. And thank you for watching the Cosmic Comic Nation. Until we meet again, be well and stay safe, everyone.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Thanks a lot, brother.